This training is on pre-session pairing. What is pre-session pairing? Pre-session pairing is when the therapist engages in preferred activities with a learner before beginning an instructional session. The purpose of pre-session pairing is to correlate the therapist with access to highly preferred items and activities, or reinforcers, to associate the therapist with the delivery of reinforcers, and to establish good rapport with the client. Pre-session pairing should be done for a few minutes before every instructional session. Pre-session pairing consists of several behaviors exhibited by the therapist. This module focuses on proximity. What should your proximity to the learner look like? When pairing, your body should be no further than an arm's length away from the learner's body, and you should be oriented towards or facing the learner. If the learner moves away from you, you should not be farther away or out of proximity for more than 5 seconds at a time. Why should you stay in close proximity when pairing? Remember that the purpose of pairing is to associate yourself with the delivery of reinforcers. To do this, you need to be close enough to the client to directly interact with him. When is it okay to be out of proximity? Some play activities, like chase or catch, may inherently require you to be farther than an arm's length from the learner while the two of you are interacting. It's okay to be farther apart while pairing if it's appropriate to the play activity and either you or the learner orients your face or body towards the other and the learner appears to enjoy the activity. The following clips show examples of proximity. Kristen, the teacher, is wearing a black shirt, and Lauren, the student, is wearing a pink shirt. First, you'll see an example of correct proximity, where the teacher is within arm's length and facing the student.
You have the wheels of the train. Way to go, you got it. I'm gonna put in the front of the train. Maybe like that?
If the student moves or turns away from you, you should reposition yourself with correct proximity within 5 seconds, as seen here.
Here's some more wheels. You're gonna have another piece.
If the student moves away from you, but then comes back within 5 seconds, that is still correct proximity, as seen here.
And there's the front of it. Here. You're done with the puzzle. Oh, you just wanted to get the ball? We can play with the ball instead.
Now you'll see some examples of incorrect proximity, where the teacher has her back to the student or is more than an arm's length from the student for more than 5 seconds.
Oh, you put the wheels in. Great job. There's the coal, the back of the train. Oh, you got the molds? You're hitting them. I'll be right there. I'm just going to finish cleaning this up. Here's the smokestack to the top of the train. That's right. You got it. Oh, you can take all the pieces and put them in, huh? And there's the wheels. You can find something else to play with. You got the ball back.
Now let's look at some examples of the times when it would be okay to be farther away from the learner or briefly have your back to the learner because it's required for the activity.
Got ya! Uh-oh, don't get me. Oh no! Oh, you got me. Great job. That's where it goes. Great job. We're gonna play ball instead? Sure, let's go. Got it. Here it comes. Whoa, great toss.
When this type of activity ends, however, you should reposition yourself within an arm's length of and facing towards the learner within 5 seconds. If you don't, this is an example of incorrect proximity, as seen here.
Whoa, great catch. Got it. Done with the ball? Oh, you got the plane. Flying around.
In summary, you want to be within an arm's length of the learner and facing towards the learner throughout pairing, unless the activity you are engaging in requires you to be farther away or to momentarily turn your back to the learner. This module focuses on positive affect. What does positive affect look like? This is when you smile or laugh while you are looking at the child, no matter which direction the child is facing. Your smile or laughter could be brief or last for a longer period of time. Smiling and laughing could also be accompanied by other animated facial expressions. Why should you demonstrate a positive affect when pairing? Remember that the purpose of pairing is to establish good rapport with the learner. To do this, you want to associate yourself with pleasant interactions, such as by providing positive feedback to the learner. Smiling at the learner, laughing, and making other positive animated facial expressions are one way to do this. When would you not want to demonstrate a positive affect while pairing? You should not demonstrate a positive affect, such as by smiling or laughing, if the learner is engaging in problem behavior. The following clips show examples of positive affect. Kristen, the teacher, is wearing a black shirt, and Lauren, the student, is wearing a pink shirt. First, let's see some correct examples of demonstrating positive affect.
I see the mallet. You do have it. Oh, I'm gonna come get you. Here it comes. Oh, got it. Ready?
If you're smiling while looking at the ground or away from the learner, this would be an incorrect example of positive affect, as seen here.
You think so? Like that? Yeah.
In summary, you want to look at the learner and smile, laugh, or demonstrate other positive facial expressions many times while pairing. This module focuses on complying with the learner's appropriate playmans. What does complying with the learner's appropriate playmans look like? This is when the learner requests an item or attention from you, or when the learner asks for your participation in any appropriate play-related activity, and you give him what he wants or do what he asks. The learner can request by talking, gesturing, handing you toys, or using eye gaze. The goal is to comply with all of the learner's appropriate playmans. Why should you comply with the learner's appropriate playmans when pairing? Remember that the purpose of pairing is to establish good rapport with the learner. To do this, you want to associate yourself with highly preferred items or activities, such as by reinforcing the learner's mans. If you were to ignore or deny the learner's requests, you would instead be associating yourself with unpleasant situations. When is it okay to ignore or deny the learner's mans while pairing? Sometimes the learner will emit inappropriate mans, such as asking to leave the room or go home, or for you to engage in an inappropriate play-based activity like self-stimulatory behavior or something dangerous. You should not comply with these types of inappropriate mans. You can either ignore them or briefly comment in response to them and then redirect the learner back to a pairing activity. The following clips show examples of complying with mans. Kristen, the teacher, is wearing a black shirt, and Lauren, the student, is wearing a pink shirt. First, you'll see the student making appropriate requests using gestures and eye gaze. The teacher correctly complies with all of these mans.
Here's the mallet. Maybe you want the moles to hit them. Red one. I'll take a turn. Okay, I'll get it. Got him. And I'm gonna get the green one. Want some trains? Oh, you got a white train and a blue one. You got a yellow train too. More trains. Okay, go ahead. Chugga 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 choo choo. Oh, it's flying through the air. My turn to fly it. Here I go. Woohoo!
In the previous video, it might not have been particularly clear what the learner wanted when she held a toy out to the teacher. However, the teacher still did her best to try and comply with these mans. Here are some additional examples of the teacher correctly complying when the student appropriately mans using a combination of vocalizations, gestures, and eye gaze.
You're pushing the train with the monkeys. a train. Let's see which one you want. Dip. Oh, the orange one. Some blocks maybe? There you go. Blue ones and yellow and green. Ooh. Oh, the gray one? Sure, there you go.
Here are some examples of a student manding using whole words and phrases. Once again, the teacher correctly complies with all of these appropriate mands.
Train? Yeah, here's a train, a yellow and green one. Can I train? Yeah, sure, here's some trains.
Here are some examples of the teacher responding incorrectly to the learner's appropriate play mands. When the learner mands using eye gaze, gestures, or vocalizations, instead of complying with the mands, the teacher ignores them.
I'm gonna get the moles. I'll maybe stack them up like this. Oh, I'm gonna knock them over. I'm not sure you are. Mallet. What? Oh, the mallet. That's what you wanted.
If the learner asks to leave the room or terminate the session, these are examples of the types of inappropriate mands that you should not comply with. In the following examples, notice how the teacher responds correctly by either ignoring or briefly commenting in response to these inappropriate mands, and then redirecting the learner to a pairing activity.
What else we can do with them? We can make them like a hat. Achoo! The blue blocks. Which means gonna knock them over. Look out! Crash! Let's see if maybe you want to play something else. Some cars instead. Bye. It's a big red car. Oh, up your leg. Here it comes.
Did you notice how the teacher kept offering up one activity after another until she regained the learner's interest? Let's watch another example.
Hear the big ship's horn. No more. Well, we don't have to do that, but we can do something else. Maybe we could stack the blocks instead. There you go. Have some blocks. Some blue ones. Here's a yellow block. A green one. Go outside. You know what? We can't go outside, but we could do some more blocks. We could try a new game. There you go. Sound it on. Some cool sounds. We're not gonna go home right now. Here. Oh, look at this thing. Get your hand. Oh, there's your hand. Squash.
As you saw in the previous examples, as long as the learner was not engaging in problem behavior, the teacher continued offering different activities until she rebuilt the learner's interest. Finally, here are some examples of what you do not want to do to respond to these inappropriate mands. In these videos, the teacher will either ignore the mands but continue to present the same activity, or will repeatedly comment in response to the mands over and over again.
Here's some blocks for you. Ooh, we got the ball.
Go outside. Go outside. Play with the ball outside. All done.
All done. Some more right here. You can even hide the puzzle pieces in it.
All done. Mom?
No, we don't need to call Mom. It's fine. We can have fun here with stuff. We got lots of stuff here to have fun with.
Outside to Mom.
No, not outside either. We can have lots of fun in here. We can do whack-a-mole. We can play with the ball.
All done.
No, we don't. We're not gonna be all done yet. We have a few more minutes here, but we can get some new toys, maybe animals and the farm.
In summary, during pairing, you want to comply with all of the learner's appropriate requests for items, actions, activities, and interactions. In response to inappropriate commands to terminate the session or leave the room, you want to either ignore them or briefly comment on them and then redirect the learner. This module focuses on reflecting vocalizations. What does reflecting vocalizations look like? This is when the learner says something recognizable or intelligible, and you vocally imitate or paraphrase what he said within 3 seconds. You can reflect vocalizations if the learner babbles, comments during play, or makes vocal requests, or mands. What you should imitate or paraphrase and how often you should reflect vocalizations will vary by learner profile. What does reflecting with a non-vocal learner look like? With a non-vocal learner, someone who does not say any recognizable speech sounds, you will not be able to reflect. What does reflecting with a vocal learner look like? With vocal learners, you will need to assess their level of talking to determine what and how often to reflect. With learners who vocalize infrequently, such as by babbling, saying speech sounds as vague approximations to words, or infrequently saying actual words, you should reflect almost every vocalization. With big talkers who say many things and speak in multiple word phrases, it's okay to reflect less often, about 1 to 2 times per minute. Why should you reflect vocalizations when pairing? Remember that the purpose of pairing is to establish good rapport with the learner. One way to do this is by repeating or paraphrasing what the learner says. When should you not reflect vocalizations? If a learner says something unintelligible or vocalizes during problem behavior, you should not reflect. If a learner who can speak in single or multiple word phrases babbles or says vague word approximations, you also should not reflect. The following clips show examples of reflecting vocalizations. Kristen, the teacher, is wearing a black shirt, and Lauren, the student, is wearing a pink shirt. The first set of videos shows a learner who says only speech sounds or vague approximations to words. Watch how the teacher reflects all intelligible vocalizations, but does not reflect unintelligible sounds or screaming.
You got the mole.
Whoa.
Oh, you hit him. Mole.
Ah!
Orange mole and a green mole.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You got him. Way to go.
Gabalala.
You gonna try with the train?
Cha.
Cha, choo-choo train. That's right. You got them all down. I'm gonna take a turn with the yellow one.
You.
Yeah, you, yellow. That's right. That's a good try.
Now let's look at a learner who speaks in single words. Watch how the teacher reflects all intelligible words, but not random speech sounds like babbling or vague word approximations.
Oh, you hit the green mole. Mole. Yeah, it's a mole. That's right. It's a green mole. Oh, you.
Da-da!
There he goes. Oh, the red one. Oh,
Orange.
You got them all. Yeah, orange. That one is orange. You're right.
Train.
Yeah, here's a train, a yellow and green one.
Two?
Block two? Two. Yeah, you can have 2 blocks. Sure thing.
Last, we have an example of a big talker, a learner who speaks frequently and uses multiple word phrases. Here, the teacher will reflect intelligible vocalizations at least 1 to 2 times per minute, but will not reflect random speech sounds like babbling or vague word approximations.
Well, here comes the train going around the moles.
Mallet I got.
I see the mallet. You do have it. I wonder what you're going to do with it.
Stack blocks.
Yeah, you're stacking some blocks. I'm going to hit the moles with the mallet and... Uh-oh, look out.
Pop
Oh,
goes
no.
the mole.
The mole goes pop.
Da-da.
In summary, to reflect vocalizations, you should imitate or paraphrase what the learner says. What and how often to reflect will vary based on learner profile. However, you should never reflect vocalizations that are unintelligible or accompanied by problem behavior. This module focuses on joining in with and creating play. What does joining in with and creating play look like? There are a number of ways to join in with or create play, which will be described in more detail on the following slides. The goal is to join in with or create play at least 2 to 3 times per minute while pairing. What does joining in with play look like? One way to join in with play is to imitate the learner's appropriate play behavior within 3 seconds of that behavior. You can also offer the learner more of the same types of toys he is already playing with. For example, if the learner is playing with 2 superheroes, you can join in by handing him 2 more superheroes. What does creating play look like? One way to create play is by using the same types of toys the learner is already playing with, but modeling different actions with them. Another way to create play is by offering toys, edibles, or activities to the learner that are different from what he is already playing with. You can also initiate social interactions with the learner to create play. Finally, you can use a toy to model a pretend action that is typically associated with another toy. For example, you can pretend that a bucket is a drum or that a xylophone is a road. Why should you join and create when pairing? Remember that the purpose of pairing is to establish good rapport with the learner. To do this, you want to associate yourself with pleasant interactions, such as joining in and following the learner's lead while playing. However, some learners might not initiate play. Other learners might engage in play that excludes the teacher. Therefore, it is also important to create play to further associate yourself with pleasant interactions. When is it okay not to join in with or create play? You should not join in with or imitate inappropriate play behaviors, such as self-stimulatory, non-play behaviors like body rocking or hand flapping. You should also not join in with or create play when the learner is engaging in problem behavior. The following clips show examples of joining in with and creating play. Kristen, the teacher, is wearing a black shirt. Lauren, the student, is wearing a pink shirt. In these clips, you will see text pop up on the screen to indicate the specific types of joining and creating behaviors that the teacher is engaging in. These can include imitating the learner's behavior, joining in with the learner's play by offering more of the same toys the learner is already playing with, or creating play by demonstrating different actions with toys, incorporating new toys, or using toys in unusual ways.
I'm going to stack some blocks too, just like you are. There it goes. Oh, you're going to build it back up? Well, I'll help you. Oh, you got the yellow car driving all around. Look out. Here comes the truck. I'm going to chase you. Oh, no. Oh, no. There's a wall in the way. Look out. Look out. I'll get it out of the way. Don't worry. There it goes. Oh, we can close it up. You know what? It doesn't work very well to move it around in the truck, but I bet we can move them this way. We can put them in here. Alright, all the trains are in, and it's like a big rocket ship. Oh no! Oh no! Oh! Oh, they crashed! Close it up. Oh, the car's on top, huh? We can make it like a road and you can drive around up here. Here comes another one. More cars. Uh-oh, earthquake! Yeah, it is a horse. The horse can run through the Play-Doh. He made some footprints. That's your leg. You can do it on your arm and on your foot. And with the pig. Oink, oink, oink. Here, have some more blocks. Make dots with the blocks. you go. You got it. You got it out. Squish it up and roll it into a ball. It's a nose. That's so funny. I love it. Wear it just like a nose. I can do it too. Ah. Choo! Oh no, I lost my nose. Or we can make it into a finger. I have a giant green finger. Can get you. Where is Pointer? Where is Pointer? Here I am. Here I am. Oh, you know what? I know another fun song that we can do. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Now let's look at some non-examples of joining in with and creating play. In the following clips, you will see the teacher move the toys around and comment on Lauren's play. However, the teacher never offers the toys to Lauren, nor does she demonstrate how to use the toys.
Let's see if there's something here that you might like. Got lots of cars. There's a whack-a-mole game. You got some cars. Put them in the truck. Red ones and yellow ones. Oh, you're getting more cars. There's lots of trains in there. One with a lion. And a blue one.
In summary, joining in with and creating play are ways to associate yourself with pleasant interactions and correlate yourself with the delivery of preferred items during pairing. Therefore, these are things you should do frequently. To join in or create, you can imitate the learner's play behaviors, offer additional toys, model different actions with toys, or initiate social interactions. However, you should not imitate self-stimulatory behaviors, and you should not join or create while the learner is engaging in problem behavior. This module focuses on describing and praising play. The goal is to describe or praise the learner's appropriate play behaviors at least 3 times per minute. Why should you describe and praise play when pairing? Remember that the purpose of pairing is to establish good rapport with the learner. One way of building rapport is by engaging or interacting with the learner by describing what he is doing while playing. Another way of establishing good rapport is by associating yourself with pleasant interactions, such as by providing positive feedback to the learner. If you did not interact with the learner, or if you provided corrective feedback, you would instead be associating yourself with neutral or unpleasant interactions. When should you not describe or praise play? You should not describe or praise the learner's play while the learner is engaging in problem behavior. The following clips show examples of describing and praising play while pairing. Kristen, the teacher, is wearing a black shirt. Lauren, the student, is wearing a pink shirt. Throughout these clips, text will pop up on the screen to indicate if the teacher is demonstrating examples of describing or praising.
You're pulling those trains around and around. There they go, up the wall. Oh, now you're hooking the trains together. There go those trains over the grass and around the moles. Great job! You whacked the moles. That's great. Look at you. That's so creative. Look at you tying them together. That's awesome. Whoa. That's so cool. Look at your tower you made. Awesome. Woohoo. Uh-oh, the car might knock it down. Look out. Oh. Yeah, you did it. You knocked it all jump everywhere. You're pulling the Play-Doh apart, squishing it up. Great job squishing the Play-Doh. Squish! Oh, awesome, you did just what I did. You made more footprints. And there's some more. Whoa, look how you made her stand up. That's so cool. Those are some big wheels. Great job doing what I did.
Now let's take a look at some incorrect examples of describing and praising play. In these first clips, notice how the teacher describes her own behavior or the play materials rather than the learner's behavior.
The horse can run through the Play-Doh. He made some footprints. Those are footprints. It's a motorcycle. With Robin on the motorcycle. I can make the pig stand. That's a football player. And a light. Orange blocks. And red ones.
In the following clips, notice how the teacher provides generic behavior statements or praise statements only and forgets to include a behavior-specific description of what the learner is doing.
Yeah! Nice! What? That's how you do it? Oh, that's cool. Great job. Way to go.
In summary, describing and praising play can help to facilitate engagement with the learner. It can also help you to build rapport by associating yourself with positive interactions. When describing or praising, be sure to make behavior-specific statements about what the learner is doing. Do not describe or praise play when the learner is engaging in problem behavior. This module focuses on presenting demands. What does presenting demands look like? This is when you give the learner any instruction about what to do, regardless of if he actually complies or not. Demands can be presented by saying instructions, asking questions, gesturing, physically maneuvering the learner, or any combination of these. The goal is not to present any demands while pairing. Why shouldn't you present demands when pairing? Remember that the purpose of pairing is to establish good rapport with the learner. To do this, you want to associate yourself with highly preferred items or activities, not unpreferred activities like complying with demands or answering questions. Therefore, you want to avoid presenting demands while pairing. When is it okay to present demands while pairing? There are some types of demands that don't typically imply a response is needed. For example, statements like, "Get ready," or "Look," or questions like, "Are you ready?" may be used to signal the start of play or draw attention to the play activity. It is okay to present these types of demands while pairing. The following clips show examples of presenting demands while pairing. Kristen, the teacher, is wearing a black shirt, and Lauren, the student, is wearing a pink shirt. Let's first look at some examples of the types of demands you should not present while pairing. Notice the different ways Kristen presents demands by gesturing and speaking. Sometimes the student responds and sometimes she doesn't. Regardless of the student's response, these are still examples of the types of demands to avoid while pairing.
Whoa, you've got the yellow train. Oh, hey, get the red one. Let's use that one instead. Make it go down your leg again. There it goes.
Here are some additional examples of the teacher presenting demands by telling the student what to do or what not to do.
You know what? Let's stop that. We're not going to do that anymore. Let's lay down. Come on, it's comfy this way. There you go. No, that doesn't go there.
Remember that asking questions is another way of presenting demands. Here are some examples of questions that should be avoided while pairing.
Hey, what do you have there?
Car.
A car? What are you going to do with the car? Oh, you're going to make him drive. I'll make a road for you. Which color should I put next? Yellow, sure thing.
During pairing, you also do not want to ask questions like, "Can I have a turn?" as this basically presents a demand for the student to give up a preferred item. Let's take a look at an example.
Can I have a turn? Thanks. Here comes the car driving down the road.
You also want to avoid asking questions as a way of describing play.
Oh, you got a car? I got a hat.
Instead of asking the question, "Oh, you got a car?" Kristen could have described Lauren's play by saying something like, "Wow, you found a car." Demands can also be presented using gestures alone.
Yeah, let me have a turn with the trains. Thanks.
Another example of presenting demands is using physical guidance to change the learner's behavior.
Oh, you're stacking all the blocks up? Here, there's some more right there. Yeah, there's more over here. There you go. The flying car is going to come and get the blocks. Here it comes. Whoa, down there.
Remember that presenting demands can consist of any combination of speaking, gesturing, or physically maneuvering the learner.
Some more. There you go.
Using physical guidance does not always mean that you are placing a demand. For example, if the learner initiates a play behavior but needs assistance to complete it, that would be an example of using physical assistance without placing a demand.
Oh, we're going to play with the blocks, it looks like. Maybe stack them up. Oh, here, it goes like this. There you go. Now you got it.
Finally, remember that it's okay to make statements like "look" or "get ready," or to ask questions like "are you ready?" as a way of indicating the start of play or to draw the learner's attention. Let's take a look at some of these exceptions.
Get ready, here comes the green one, right on top. Oh, and you got another one on top. Look out, the truck is coming. Crash. Oh no. Ready, chew.
In summary, you want to avoid placing all demands, including asking questions, while pairing. However, it is okay to make statements like "look" or "get ready," or to ask questions like "are you ready?" as a way of signaling the start of play or drawing the learner's attention. This module focuses on redirecting inappropriate behavior. What are inappropriate behaviors? During a pairing session, there are 3 types of inappropriate behaviors the learner might display. These are self-stimulatory behavior, such as repetitive movements with toys or parts of the body; negative behavior that indicates the learner's disinterest, such as whining, pushing toys away, or displaying negative affect; and problem behavior, such as tantrums, self-injurious behavior, aggression, or property destruction. What does redirecting inappropriate behavior look like? If the learner is engaging in self-stimulatory behavior involving body movements, such as finger play, hand flapping, or body rocking, try to redirect him to an appropriate play activity. If the self-stimulatory behavior continues, try to incorporate it into an appropriate activity that uses those same types of movements. For example, you could turn body rocking into singing and doing the movements to "row, row, row your boat." If the learner is engaging in self-stimulatory behavior using toys, redirect him to play with the toy in an appropriate way. If the learner engages in negative vocalizations like whining, makes negative facial expressions, or demonstrates other behaviors that indicate disinterest, such as pushing toys away or moving away from you, try changing activities or offering up different toys. Continue to change your behavior or offer different toys and activities about every 10 seconds until the learner stops engaging in these negative behaviors and begins appropriately interacting with you. Why should you redirect inappropriate behavior when pairing? Remember that the purpose of pairing is to establish good rapport with the learner. To do this, you want to make sure you are creating interactions that are enjoyable for the learner. If the learner engages in self-stimulatory behavior or negative behavior indicating disinterest, these are indicators that what you are doing is not enjoyable enough. Therefore, you'll want to change your behavior until you find something that is more enjoyable to the learner. When should you not redirect inappropriate behavior? You should not attempt to redirect more serious problem behavior, such as tantrums, self-injurious behavior, aggression, or property destruction. If these types of behaviors occur, terminate the pairing session. The following video shows examples of redirecting inappropriate behaviors while pairing. Kristen, the teacher, is wearing a black shirt, and Lauren, the student, is wearing a pink shirt. In these first clips, you will see examples of how Kristen attempts to redirect the student when she's engaging in inappropriate behaviors that indicate disinterest, such as whining or other negative vocalizations.
You can squish Play-Doh on top of them.
Ah! Ah!
There's some more Play-Doh. There's another one if you want to try it.
Home.
We're not going to go home right now, but we can find something else to play with. Got lots of cars. Or drums. Yeah, the horse can play the drums. That sounds cool. Maybe we can try it with something else.
In these next clips, you'll see examples of Lauren engaging in more self-stimulatory movements with her body or with toys. Kristen will attempt to either redirect Lauren to a more appropriate play activity, or will attempt to incorporate the stereotypic movement into some kind of social interaction.
Something cool we can spin. The helicopter. You spin around and around. See how this feels on your fingers. Some rice, some beans. Here, you can make him chase him. Here I go. Oh no! Don't hit me! Don't run me over! Where is Pointer? Where is Pointer? Here I am. Here I am. Rocking back and forth. We can really rock. 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 Shake. Rock and roll. Shake. Rock and roll.
In these next clips, you'll see examples of Lauren engaging in more serious problem behavior like self-injury. At first, Kristen will attempt to redirect her to more appropriate activities. However, when the behaviors become too intense, Kristen terminates the session.
Playing the drums. Okay, nice, like this. I got some sounds. A helicopter. Ooh. Ooh. Got some lights. Let me get the yellow one. Right, we can take a break.
Finally, here are some clips of Kristen responding inappropriately. Notice how she stays with the same activity and does not try to change things up to make it more enjoyable for the student. or how she continues to allow the student to engage in self-stimulatory behaviors rather than attempting to redirect her.
And the red one. Round and around. We're going back and forth.
In summary, during pre-session pairing, you want to redirect whenever the learner engages in inappropriate behaviors like negative vocalizations or other signs of disinterest, or self-stimulatory behaviors. However, if the inappropriate behavior turns into more severe problem behavior, you should terminate the session for the safety of the learner. This module demonstrates a sample session of pre-session pairing. This video gives an example of the target teacher behaviors to be demonstrated during pairing. These include maintaining close proximity to the learner, demonstrating positive affect, complying with the learner's appropriate playmans, reflecting vocalizations, praising and describing the learner's play, joining in with and creating play, placing no demands, and redirecting inappropriate behaviors. In the following video, Kristen, the teacher, is wearing a black shirt, and Lauren, the student, is wearing a pink shirt. Text will pop up on the screen to indicate which of the target teacher behaviors Kristen is demonstrating.
I'll race you. Around it goes. Yeah, there's the green car. You can have some more cars. Time to go home. I'm gonna put the orange one up here. Get that blue one going. Oh, he doesn't fit very well. Maybe that one. Ready, set, go! Down they go. Great job. You made the car go all the way down the ramp. Vroom, 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 vroom. Oh, the car's gonna jump off the back of the truck. Crash! Awesome, you did just what I did. Great job. You opened the truck and found a white car inside.
Put the red one in.
Yeah, you're putting the red one in?
Green.
And the green car. That's a full truck. You put all the cars in the truck. Arrgh, ahoy, matey. I'm gonna come steal ye cars. Get your volcano back out and keep building. Orange Legos, here's a green one for you. Way up on top. Oh no, the volcano is getting ready to explode. Look at all that lava that fell out. Oh. Oh, you found the basketball.
Play ball?
Sure, we can play ball. Nice toss. Here it comes. Get ready. Got it. Yeah, great catch. Bouncing the basketball. Keep dribbling around. There it comes. Oh, I'm gonna come get it from you. Look out. Nice pass.